Okay, so I'm going to do one final video before the end of this year. And in this video, we are going to talk about this whole thing around generational curses and generational patterns and how do we break them. Now, on a personal note, I've been reflecting a lot around how do these generational concerns, patterns, curses, how does it get passed down from generation to generation? And one of the things that I am recognizing is the key components of secrets. It's people, quote unquote, minding their business, turning the other way. It's people protecting others. And there is this significant lack of accountability, not from the person, I guess there's multiple ways. I'm thinking of it not just from the person who's doing the act, but from people having a fear of or being pushed away or drawn away from holding people accountable. There is also this thing I think around, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to disrupt spaces, even when maybe, especially when it's your family, when emotions are involved, when people are concerned about relationships and what this means and whatever. And essentially what happens is nothing. No one thinks about or maybe they do, but it keeps people paralyzed from a place of action. People may acknowledge it, people may whisper on the sides, people may see what's going on, but get paralyzed when it comes to the action piece. There is something that I often say to my daughter, and I use it for myself as well, is you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And something that we all should recognize is that sometimes there are some decisions you have to make, you should make, that are the right decisions to make, and it's uncomfortable. Make the decision anyway. Because essentially what happens is then you have generations and generations of family members who felt they weren't heard, they weren't protected, no one showed up. And so if we look at the surface, it looks like a loving family. When we look beneath the cracks, if we go a layer under, 2 layers under, Lord, if we go 3, we go any deeper and we realize there's a lot of people who wish they were protected. So this is my advice to you. If you are the one that are recognizing things in your family that doesn't work for you, and I'll start with you first. If it's something that affects you personally, make the decision anyway. Do what's best for you. Figure out what your boundaries are. If there are people that you need to have conversations with, have those conversations directly. If there are people who will not acknowledge what they did, how they did it, or don't want to make any changes, then you make a change. You can make a decision to protect yourself in that moment and say, I'm not dealing with that person, I won't be around that person, or what does it look like moving forward? If you are that person, I also want to say that it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're calling out something that's part of a system that people don't want to call out. They would rather ignore it. They would rather lie. They would rather manipulate than to address the thing that is so evident and so clear because, again, discomfort. Find your people. They could be in your family. It could be your friends. It could be other people, whomever. Find your people that can be your support during all of this because you will need it. Just because everyone else doesn't make the right decision, again, it does not mean you can't make the right decision. So all of these conversations, again, around I'm breaking generational curses, in order to really shift how you do things, it requires work, it requires calling it out, it requires action. It will feel uncomfortable. You may be isolated, and you still should do what's best for you. If you are someone in your family who feels like, the shift maker, the disruptor, the one who has called some things out, let us know what's worked for you. And if someone comes to you and they said, hey, as when I was a child, this thing happened, or I'm noticing this pattern, or here are some things that I have concerns about, take a breath. The first response cannot be defensiveness. The first response cannot be that didn't happen. The first response cannot be minimizing. Take a breath, listen, and then have a discussion. All right, that's all I got for 2024 as I try and figure out what I'm gonna do with this hair and tame it real quick. Y'all let me know what you think.